What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn Dogs Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a great week in golf. The Olympics, super fun
Yeah, we did.
times. USA came out on top. That's all I'm
I will
saying.
not be blaring the Star Spangled Banner this week. Full
Thank you.
volume.
Appreciate it. Overall, Scotty Scheffler won. What'd you think of the week?
Where the heck did Scotty Scheffler come from? Because I was on the golf course Sunday and we had it in our cart just watching on the side while we were playing. And we went from teeing off when he was down like 4 shots and
Yep.
we hit the green, finished the hole and walked back to the cart and he was like one back. And we're like, what the heck could have it was wild. No offense, do not take this as hate, John Rahm. Congratulations on potentially having one of the worst chokes in golf history, but because it was overseas in a non yes, it's a major watched event, but it's not a major watched event, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll not
I-
surpass the Jordan Spieth blow up from the Masters, but my goodness, that was the choke of all chokes.
Yeah, I was moving apartments on Sunday. So I was all over the place and I was like, oh, Scotty's like 5 back, 6 back, whatever he was at the time. I think it was probably a similar point to you, Jack. And next thing you know, I look back at my phone like an hour later and he was winning on like the 17th green or something like that. And I was like, this makes zero sense. But like it is Scotty Scheffler, so I'd expect nothing less from him.
Yeah, just a casual
Uh,
9 under. My gosh.
yeah, I mean, I think Fleetwood was like 8 under as well.
5 on the day. Pavon, I believe, was the 8 under.
Yeah, but he also was like,
Perez, excuse me.
oh, Victor Perez. That's right. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, Pavon, that's crazy.
No, I think you switched that
But I wouldn't have.
last. You're right there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Outside of that, we'll continue to move along. Anything stand out to you as far as the week outside of the fact that Scotty Scheffler is the GOAT? And that, in all honesty, I would have thought that. I know. He's the current GOAT of golf. I know. I know that you want an asterisk next to that. It's okay. Um, but outside of us thinking that Xander was the only American that was probably had a chance to win going into Sunday, and then Scotty pulling it out, what else did you think of the week?
Well, Scotty clearly didn't pull it up because he has a kid. But anyway, it was honestly really fun to watch. It was nice to have a course, at least in the Olympics, that we saw in Ryder Cup and past events, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I was gutted to watch Tom Kim be emotional because he couldn't win a medal avoiding that military service, but he has plenty of time. He's got another Olympics. He's got Asia Games. He could, I think, majors count too. So there's a lot of realm of possibility in there. That was really gutted. And then I do want to shout out Wyndham Clark because everybody crapped on him in the entire world, maybe outside of his wife and the other 3 guys that were golfing with him from the USA.
Yep.
And after Thursday, I think he was like second to last, finished
Yep.
14th. So major props to him because after Thursday, I'm pretty sure the Bryson sexuals or whatever they call themselves were coming for Clark's head. And I was right in the
Oh,
same boat.
100%.
I'm like, and again, it's not his fault because Olympics is world rankings. Yes, we can have the conversation that it should have been Bryson based on a lot of factors. Wasn't his fault,
Yes.
but to all that to happen, he goes into it, probably sees a million things about how terrible, nobody wants him there, blah, blah, blah. Thursday, terrible, and to finish 14th, I have to say good on him.
No, I'm in the same boat. I was not high on Wyndham Clark last week, and it looked like it was one of those things where it was like, good thing I wasn't high on him because he didn't play well. But yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he seemed to find a golf game, and top 15 is always solid in the 60-person field. He's top 4th of
Yeah.
the field, so it's something you take. I'm going to highlight some of the low price guys that we were all over that did well, as well as some of the guys we missed. So some guys we were all over. Matteo Manacero. Well, I was all over Matteo Manacero. He finished T18. Guido Migliozzi was T22. And again, not a ton of guys really low price. So if you want to count like Corey Connors, who was like I think 8,000 or less, was T9, and then Hideki, who I think was like 8,500. At that point, we're kind of losing the validity
Whoa,
of
what
like
about
low
Nicholas
price
Echevarria?
guys. Oh, I forgot about Nico. You're right. Okay, so Nico's another one. What did Nico finish?
33rd, baby.
Okay, yeah,
35th.
35th.
He
Okay,
was
that's
stone
solid.
mint.
Yeah, I know. He finished half. You could argue that these were because here are the misses I have, Jack. Our misses were Chris Ventura, who finished T43, and then if you want to count Shabankar Sharma at a T40 as a miss,
No way, that's a win. I
well,
would.
I
I don't
know.
remember us ever talking about Ventura, but
Well, I talked about Ventura, but like T40 and T43 is like your misses in a 60-person field. Like that's the kind of picking hairs I'm getting to at this point. Like we had a pretty
as
good week.
someone that had a bet on him at top 40, I wouldn't call that a loss.
Fair play. I just want to point out Jack extremely trash talked my Mateo Manacero pick, saying that it'd be crazy that he could finish T10 to T15. He finished T18. I would still call that a win in my books. I know Jack said that he was more likely to finish like bottom third, but I think T18 is an ecstatic performance for a guy who was like mid 6K pricing.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, Mateo Manacero.
Oh, when I told you to bet him top 20 or 30 and you refused?
Yes, absolutely. Because you said he was going to finish bottom 10 and he finished T18. I said he was going to he had a potential to finish top 15. He finished T18. So don't worry. Let's get in the DraftKings lineups here.
Okay, go for it.
All right. DraftKings I had pretty good on. I won money on single entries and double ups. Xander T9, Colin T24, Seb Straka T35, Mateo Manacero T18, Shubhankar Sharma T40, Chris Ventura T43.
Awesome. I won on both single entries and double ups. I had Xander, I had Alex Noren, Thomas Dietrich, Christian Bezuidenhout, Thornbjorn Olesen, and Shubhankar Sharma. The worst being Noren, who I think finished 43rd, 45th. Obviously, again, it's inflated due to everything else, but I'm happy with that. A lot of people struggled. A lot of people were really high on not only Matt Fitzpatrick, who I think withdrew after 10 holes, and then I saw a lot, and I say a lot of Emiliano Grillo and a lot on Victor Hovland. So I was happy to take away from that.
Yeah, anytime everybody else wants to go on Hovland, I'm ecstatic because it means that
But why Grillo? So random.
I think Rio has those like high ball striking weeks where he can kind of figure it out. And he has the upside to be really good when it comes to approach play, which in theory should have been good last week. But Grillo is about as inconsistent as they come when it comes to good finishing and bad finishing. So it's one of those where you're basically taking a shot in the dark, a 50-50 every time you want to play with Grillo. So it's fun. For my FanDuel, I did pretty much similar to how I was on DraftKings. I just snuck in money on both. Xander Schauffele, T9, Colin Morikawa, T24, Ludwig Gobert, T18, Christian Bezuidenhout, 16th, Thornbjorn Olesen, T14, and then Ventura was my only guy basically outside of the top 24 in T43. So
awesome. Yeah, you had a really good FanDuel lineup, and it's unfortunate that it seemed like I had like a top 5 lineup. It was awesome. Yeah. I had Scotty, who won. Xander, which was awesome. Aubert, who was awesome. Olesen, who was awesome. Sharma, who was fine. Great for me. I had him top 40. And Echevarria, who finished inside the top 40 as well at like literally the stone minimum price. Maybe one or two guys below him in FanDuel, but I'm freaking taking that all day.
Yeah, I mean that's the route. It's tough when Jack had more upside guys that ended up finishing winner T5. I just had more guys around that like T15 to T20 range. So that's going to win every time if you get a couple of those high winners choices. All right, on to bets. How'd your bets do last week? I know you had like 15 of them. So
well, I'm so glad you asked. And if you followed along, you went up 4.7 units last week. So you are absolutely welcome. We had Scotty top 5. That was fantastic. That was plus money. We had Xander top 10, which is plus money. Xander top 20 and Rod 1 plus money. Sharma over Bular was a win. Basically, it was top Indian golfer. USA win. Xander, Rahm, Scotty, Colin, or Rory win was minus 110. Scotty and Xander top 10 parlay. Tommy Fleetwood to beat Victor Hovland at minus 130 was a win. And Sharma top 40. Offhand, I can't remember what the odds were because I did everything on another note. But we're up 75.09 units. And I know it technically wasn't an official bet. I didn't talk about it, never posted it. I did put money on Scheffler being a medal holder. Like, what was it, like minus 125? We texted about it briefly, but I'm not including it because it's not an official bet. But regardless, we hit the 75 unit mark, up 75.09 units on the year.
I want to say it was like a Scheffler, Xander, or Morikawa to finish in a medal at like plus 125, like something like that, right? Wasn't that what it was?
It was just individuals.
Was it individual? Okay, all right.
Because
I remember seeing one.
That's Scheffler. No, let me look right now.
I just remember seeing one of those from you where I sat there and I was like, wow, any of these like multiple people to win a medal is crazy. I'll go over my bets while you take a look. So for my bets last week, I had Christian Bezuidenhout over Eric Van Reen at minus 150. That was a win. I had Seb Straka over Jason Day. Jason Day might have played his best golf in 6 months last week, which is crazy. I had Tom Kim over Victor Hovland at minus 120. That felt like the lock of a lifetime. I had Adrian Meronk over Matthew Pavon, who Pavon was probably one of the worst looking golfers on a golf course in a minute. So that was a win. Colin Morikawa, top 20 round one at minus 150 was a loss. And then Matai Schmidt over Steven Yeager at plus 100. That actually voided because they both finished up, I think, like T26. So I went 3 for 5. I'm up 0.6 units, and I'm currently up 12.09 units on the year. Just to put that into perspective, 8 weeks ago or 2 months ago at the Memorial, I was currently at negative 3.45 units. So that means I've gained 15 units in the past 8 weeks.
Welcome to the life being Jack. Doesn't it feel nice?
It's very fun when you're winning money on bets. I'll tell you that. So it makes it super enjoyable. So yeah, I'm on a good streak right now. Hopefully it continues.
Love it. And I'm just gonna jump into wild cards because Jack had a nice week. We hit a little plus 175. I know it wasn't the greatest wild card hit in the world, but it was Scotty or Xander to win at plus 175. And as you are well aware by now, or if you haven't, surprise, winner.
Yeah, good play. I respect it. My wildcard pick, I had Colin Morikawa, Corey Connors, and Thorbjorn Olesen top 20 parlay at plus 383. The only reason this lost was because Colin Morikawa was outside of T20 by 1 stroke. I think it was 1 stroke. It might have been 2. 2 shots? Okay. But still, if you would have told me before the event that the only reason that would have missed was solely by Morikawa by like 1 or 2 shots, I would have called bullshit. So, kind of funny, but good to know. So,
awesome. How'd your winners do?
Not great. I had Adrian Meronk T49, Carlos Ortiz T26. How'd you do, Jack? Pretty good?
I didn't do that well either. I had a guy, well, at least one of my guys hit podium. I had Matsuyama finish 3rd, which was nice, and I had Scotty Scheffler winning 1st. So both of my guys hit podium. You are welcome, because I believe that's our 6th winner in the last 9 weeks.
I think it's 10. I think it's 10 weeks.
10?
Yeah, because we had that like 2-week stretch where we only had guys finish like 6th and 7th.
I cannot wait to clip a title and just say like 60% win rate. Which I guess technically that's not clickbait if it's accurate.
No, it's not clickbait. It's just some schmuck out there. It's gonna be like, you took Scotty twice during that stretch, and it's like, sorry, the bro's good at golf. I don't know what to tell you. Like, so all right. With that, that is the Olympics. We get to wait 4 more years for another one of those. On to the Wyndham Championship at Sedgefield Country Club. Yeah, this is not the most enticing golf tournament of all time. This is a par 70 totaling 7,130 yards. I somehow deleted my last year's winner.
It was Lucas Glover.
Oh yeah, this was the Glover stretch, right, where he went back to back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Lucas Glover won last year. So a couple of highlights on the course. Fairways are heavily tree lined and the course is set over a rolling wooded landscape. Course ranks 8th on the PGA Tour when it comes to driving accuracy. If you get into the rough is thick, there will be trees in the way, and you will potentially have to punch out. The course usually favors consistent putters, especially on Bermuda greens. Some of the notable winners here: Tom Kim, Kevin Kisner, JT Poston, Webb Simpson, and Siwoo. They've all excelled, again, with some of them streakier putters than others, like a Siwoo, but they have that kind of style. Motivation is super important this week, especially considering a lot of guys are going to try to get into the playoffs or just get better positioning with this being the final event before the end of the season. Again, this year there's going to be only 70 golfers that make the FedEx Cup point standing playoffs, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. Guys are really going to be fighting for that position, and it may affect, the guy who's ranked 75th a lot more than the guy who's ranked 150th versus the guy who's ranked 25th, or whatever the case may be. One last note. I know we're not weathermen out here, but Tropical Storm Debbie just hit Florida today, or is hitting Florida today, or may have just hit Florida. It's going to hit Florida on like Monday afternoon. The point being is that this event is going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, which, if you kind of look at the angle of the storm, is going to probably get a ton of rain and a ton of wind from this tropical storm. It looks like it's basically going to rain every day up until Sunday, starting tomorrow morning. There's going to be heavy rains, heavy wind that's going to cause a lot of probably starts and stops. There's rumors that this may end up just being a washed event, or they might end it early depending on how bad the weather gets. But the rumor is that they're going to get over 5 inches of rain in Greensboro between the start of the event Thursday and the end of day Saturday.
5 inches is a lot.
It's you could argue that it's an astronomically large amount depending on who you ask. I mean, it's arguably too much for some people. But no, the rain is going to be crazy tough. There's going to be a ton of wind, and there's probably going to be at least like 2 delays when it comes to the weather.
Probably a bunch of withdrawals too.
I'm guessing a good amount of withdrawals, especially
and if I were to
guys
guess
that,
a lot of withdrawals, it's probably going to be the Sung J M's, the Shane Lowrys, the guys that have already cemented their spot and they were just fighting for bonus points. The guys that, they don't want to go through that. They don't have to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm in the same boat there with those names. So keep that in mind when you're going through. Keep an eye on the weather. And then when Wednesday night comes around, make sure your guy is still listed in the field. Fortunately, there's no like Hideki Matsuyama this week, so we don't have to play those types of mind games. But I feel like Siwoo and Shane Lowry are probably the next closest thing to it. So we'll see. All right. With that, we're jumping right into DraftKings lineups, unless you have any other thoughts.
No.
All right. Right into DraftKings lineups. We're going to start off with the 10,000 range. Fortunately, there's nobody else priced above it because Scotty's not in the field. Starting Sung J M, Shane Lowry, Billy Horschel, Siwoo Kim.
So I'm going to go Sung J M really quick. Really reasonably priced for like a number one. Excluding majors, he's dominated. And I mean literally dominated after the beginning of the year when we called for him to leave the PGA Tour and try to get a Corn Ferry event made cut. Like, it was so bad. Yeah. I can't even tell you. In his last 5 events, he has a scoring average of 67. That's ridiculous.
He has 10 top 10s in his last 12 starts.
Yeah, I literally can't describe how ridiculous that is. And in this event, in the last 10 years, he has an average finishing placement of 11 here.
Yeah, guy crushes it. Yeah, he's a spectacular choice.
Incoming 109th place finish.
He's also gained at least 2 strokes putting in each of his last 4 starts. He's also been great with approach play with at least 4. He's gained 4 strokes on approach as well, each of the last 4 starts. Words were hard. You got where I was coming from there. So I'm all over Sung J. I'll talk about Shane Lowry. He lost in strokes gained off the tee at the Olympics for the first time. That was the first time he lost in that metric since the Memorial at the beginning of June. He is known to play really well in rainy and tough conditions. Outside of probably Rory, statistically, he's one of the better players when it comes to playing in these bad conditions. He's also top 10 on tour in driving accuracy, which will be very beneficial, especially if it comes to like a lift, clean, and place type of model with all the rain that's expected. I would also probably think that that is going to be in the cards, especially if they get the amount of rain that they're anticipating. So if he does not withdraw, I like Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I think I'm not even going to talk on Billy Horschel. He can weird. But Siwoo Kim, let me talk Siwoo Kim really quick. Flying under the radar for most improved player, just has a really, really good year. One thing to note about Siwoo Kim that I think a lot of people are overlooking, he has 4 top 5s in this event, including a win.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that win was 8 years ago, but
yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, Siwoo's good. Some of the best course history here. He ranks 5th in the model, behind Webb Simpson, Billy Horschel, Kevin Kisner, and Ryan Moore. I mean, Webb Simpson literally has a child named Wyndham. He liked this course so much. He hasn't lost on strokes approach here since 2018. He did win here back in 2016, as Jack said. He just likes this course because it's kind of a ball striker's paradise. His putter is a bit sporadic at times, but he's in good form right now. I'll talk on Billy. Billy was scary for a little while. He had a few runner-up finishes, especially since I want to say the Open, he finished runner-up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But since the Honda, aka the Cognizant, if you want to get fancy, he's rattled off 8 top 20 finishes in his last 16 starts. He also has 4 more finishes between T20 and T40 as well. He's a much different golfer than years past, and I think he's a very valid option if you want to get here. I see him winning soon. It's just a question of when soon is in the next. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he wins in life because I hope he doesn't win another PGA Tour event. But
Jesus. Okay. All right. Next.
Billy, I'm just kidding. I love you. You're a great guy. But into the 9K range, we have Cam Young at top at 9,700 over to the most overrated golfer this year has ever seen in Min-Woo Lee, who, that is not an insult. I love that guy to death. He is awesome. He's one of the coolest guys on the PGA Tour. But the expectations for him were here, and he hit here. So I'll speak on Cam Young really quick. Man, that guy, I don't know what happened to him, but he turned something on its head, and he's been crushing it the last couple weeks. He's looked really good, and he's one of the best pure ball strikers from tee to green in the entire PGA Tour. His last 3 finishes have been 31, 6, and 9. So he's clearly found something. Most of his poor finishes have been a result of round 3 and round 4. He just can't close. He's kind of like the mediocre Patrick Cantlay, even though Patrick Cantlay is quickly becoming mediocre. But I think this being a lower tier event, number one, it's a really reasonable price. Like if this was the Open and Cam Young was 97, I'd be like, all right, I'll take a flyer on this. And I think I did. But I don't see that becoming that much of an issue. And if you're able to slot these top tier guys like that, I think Cam Young is a perfect spot to go ahead and fire that.
So there's a bit of a challenge when it comes to Cam Young. He does find success in courses like Harbour Town that what you wouldn't think normally fits his style, and like similar concept here. But he's also lost strokes with his putter in each of his last 5 starts. The putter is concerning. Now again, he could
Speaks
find
to my golf game.
Well, again, there's a chance he finds it here, and like in all honesty, in this week of a field, it could be a great Cam Young spot. But I think losing 5 straight just gives a little bit of cause for concern on my end, sticking with Cam Young as opposed to trying to get somebody else.
Let me push you back, though, because there's no expectations on Cam Young this week, so he's probably going to go off and win.
Are there no expectations? He's the 5th most expensive golfer in the field.
Literally, there's no expectations on anybody in the Who Done Cares Championship.
All I'm saying is you can't say there's no expectations when he's the 5th most expensive golfer on DraftKings. He's got to be at least top like 8 as far as betting odds go.
All right, you got me there because I did put money on him to win. Of course I'm a degenerate. But more so, what I'm saying is he's not in that spot where it's a win or a bust. That's more so what I was saying.
Which is why I think he still has a chance. Again, there's just those two. Really, I think it's him being high priced, his putter not being great, and that's the reason I don't like him. I totally understand if he fits into your price point though, and you want to. he could very easily finish top 20 this week. I think he could also very easily miss the cut. There is going to be a little bit of volatility with Cam Young.
But those odds are crazy for him to miss the cut.
They'd be quite high. That's for sure.
I'll tell you in 30 seconds.
Okay. I didn't see them up yet when I was looking, but I'd looked a couple hours ago. Brian Harmon, prior to his T60.
Don't mind me interrupting you. Plus 162.
That seems low.
Very low.
Yeah. Prior to his T60 doing the title defense at the Open, he rattled off 7 straight T33 or better finishes in his last 8 starts. He's just been a lot more consistent. Biggest concern is quite similar to Cam Young. He has lost with his putter in 5 of his last 8 starts. And when he's finishing T10 or better, his putter is usually the weapon that's carrying him that week. So, but in 10 starts at Sedgefield, he's missed a cut twice, and he has 2 top 10s. So if you want Cam Young with more volatility, say hello to Brian Harmon. He's your guy.
And a more boring Cam Young.
Well, that too.
Shout out the lefties.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, Davis Thompson, he did win not too long ago at John Deere, which was a win I felt like a lot of us saw coming. That was a win Jack had.
Including Jack. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. I picked him the week before, but yeah, Jack took him that week. He was on a heater after the win. He went to Scotland, struggled at the Genesis, didn't play that great. But he's back on U.S. soil. He's taken a couple weeks to relax. He's probably one of my favorite options in this 9K range, just based on the fact that he's 9,200. I think he's got just as much upside as Cam Young and Harmon, but a little less volatility.
Talk to me about, okay, I'm going to speak on Akshay really quick, and then I have a question for you. So Akshay is one of those guys that he sucks everything that you could physically imagine.
Jesus.
Sucks. Whoa. That wasn't supposed to be dirty. Okay. I was saying in this event, he's played it 3 times. He's lost strokes everywhere. That's more so what I was saying.
Okay.
Dirty bird, get your head out of the gutter. But he sucks wiener.
Sorry.
And just kidding. I had to do it. Nothing wrong with that.
Got it.
Akshay Bhatia, though. I get it and I don't get it. He's one of the best scorers on planet Earth. He's got tremendous ball striking, but he's lost strokes everywhere. Like there's not a category on all strokes gained measures in this course. Like his closest is strokes gained off the tee at minus 0.04. Everything else is almost at -1 or greater. His average is minus 2.3 around. Average. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. With Akshay Bhatia, it's a bit of an interesting case. He does struggle in so many of those fronts. I think this is going to be one of those things where like he has courses that he's good at. He's kind of a course horse in my opinion, where like he is good at certain courses.
I don't know if you can say that just yet. He's too young for that.
Well,
there's a mold he fits.
Yeah, there's a trend that he's leaning his way towards.
Victor Hovland trend.
And it is towards I am going to be good at a select amount of courses. And other courses I will potentially struggle with, even though people want to play me here. I'm starting to think that there is those list of courses, and maybe Wyndham is just one of those, where eventually he might come out and finish T20 1 year out of the blue, and then the next 2 or 3 years he'll like miss a cut or finish T65 again. So I think with Akshay Bhatia, you just kind of let him go, and you're like, hey, if you play great, that's spectacular. But I don't want to rely on a guy who's not good at this course usually. This is not one of his better courses. So I think that's just kind of the mindset you have to have when it comes to Akshay this week.
All right, and here's my question for you.
Okay.
Why is Jordan Spieth 9,500?
His name's Jordan Spieth. People want to get to him. Inside the
top 70 here. His average finishing placement is 75. And I don't think his last top 20 was in April at the Valero. I just don't understand it.
I thought he could go to John Deere.
26th.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that was the last time.
I mean, that's fine, but it's like
that was the last time I saw him like the top 40. I feel like so.
He finished top 30 at the Open.
Oh, all right, good for him. No, I think that it's a combination of name value as well as the sports books being like, he's a big name in this field. We're gonna boost his price because people will see the name Jordan Spieth and instantly want to click it.
Like, Jordan Spieth is okay. don't look at the stats. If you're a stat guy, like me, ignore this. Listen to what I'm saying. Jordan Spieth is a very accurate player.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth is really good from tee to green, and at one point was the best putter the game has ever seen, maybe alongside Brad Faxon. Maybe. You can make that argument. Or young Ricky Fowler. I'll make that argument all day. But what we've seen from him is a lot of changes to his game, whether it be swing speed, equipment, hatching. If you don't know what hatching is, it's a complicated answer I won't bore you with on this time. But a lot of stuff that's come into play in his game. I think over the last little bit, outside of the Scottish Open, he's looked a lot better than he did, much like Sung Jae Im at the beginning of the year, which is weird. 9,500 is an egregious price for Jordan Spieth right now. I think you could take that and drop it down $1,000, and that's a play. I think Jordan Spieth has a high ceiling, but a very low floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think somebody out there is going to be like, I'm going to try and get ahead of the curve and get to Jordan Spieth early. And I respect it. But it's been such a bad overall year from Spieth that I need to see him like fully turn the corner before I can even potentially throw him in a lineup. And that's all there is to it. You want to get into the 8K range where I kind of like some of these guys almost more than some of the 9K range guys?
Done. Well, I'll lead it off. Cam Young to 8,900, all the way down to Johnny Vegas. Fly it away.
Yeah, I love Aaron Rai at this course. I think he's actually got a really good adjusted fit here. When you look at what he's good at, he's a guy that likes to play out of the fairway, hit a lot of greens in regulation, and gain a ton on approach. All three of those are going to be huge factors when it comes to Sedgefield this week. His weakness is his putter, similar to Cam Young and Harmon, but the difference being that he's like $1,000 cheaper than both those guys. Let's not also forget prior to the Open, which again, this is not an open style field. This is an extremely weak field, all things considered. He had 5 straight top 20 finishes. I'm also going to talk about the guy right below him, Christian Bezuidenhout. He finished 16th last week at the Olympics, and he lost 5.5 strokes on approach last week, but also gained 7.5 strokes with the putter. I expect both of those to probably mellow out. And he'll probably end up with like a T30-ish finish if he does that, which you're very okay with at 8,700, especially if he's like your third guy in your lineup. Historically, he's a really good putter, which will help him out this week, and I expect that to kind of continue. But again, if he doesn't lose 5.5 strokes on approach, I see him doing quite well this week.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rye's an interesting play because he looked dramatically worse at the Open. And I know it's really hard to compare that style of a course to frickin' North Carolina, but
yeah.
It did raise a caution flag for me. And then you see him drop down to this really, really like salivating price. So part of me thinks that there's no backing behind this statement. Part of me thinks something's wrong. And I don't know if that's an injury. I don't know if there's something room in the background, like a little birdie saying something. Something alarmed me when I saw that.
I think it's the case of just the opposite of the Jordan Spieth effect. Nobody gets excited hearing Aaron Rye's name. So that's probably why he's down here versus Jordan Spieth, where you hear his name and you're like, oh, I know that name. I'm going to pick him because that makes sense. Same thing. I mean, Luke Clanton is 8,600. I know he's been playing solidly, but like he's in a really good grouping here of a lot of good golfers, and I don't know if he deserves to be this high.
No, he got up there, and then he missed the cut wildly, and they should have went. Ugh. But here's the thing that's really smart about these odds makers and bookmakers. They're going to capitalize on all the names they can. So if they think they're going to, well, again, if you're doing DFS, they make a cut of their money regardless of who you pick. But the idea is, especially in like or sports book betting, and that's why if you follow my bets, number one, yes, I will say this a million times, I bet very safe. So if you want somebody to bet the plus 10,000s, I'll happily give them to you. But for me, I bet minus 200s comfortably with confidence. And that's the reason I'm up over 75 units on the year. And no, that's not a fake statement because you can go back and fact check me if you really want to. Luke Clanton, his top 40 odds are like minus 150 or whatever they were when I saw them open. Yeah. For example, a guy like Maverick McNeely, his were better. And he's been proven time and time again. So the odds makers are capitalizing, which is much like you said with Spieth. Yep. I'm not even touching him. But speaking of Maverick McNeely, I do like him this week.
There you go. I
Oh,
thought you were going to Dietrich, but
I can get there, but I have Maverick McNeely. He's made the cut in 15 of 18 events on the year. And if you just only include the United States events, he's 14 for 15. The only miss being the John Deere Classic, where I don't know what the heck happened there. Everyone gets a week, and
I had him to win. That's
yeah,
why.
I think the world had him to win a John Deere Classic. But he finished third at the 3M Open. He looked spectacular. I think
Yep.
John Deere Classic, I think just something happened. Scoring average on the year of 69, which is a rough average of about 2.5 under adjusted. So if you're putting him at 5 under for the cut line, listen, he's making the cut. If he doesn't make the cut, I'm literally going to go find a goldfish and throw him off a bridge, or her. But I think this being a lower tier field, this is a spot where Maverick McNeely, the ball striker, really needs to come out. This is the Maverick McNeely we need to see at the Players come out and fire 3 incredible rounds and then try to hold off on a Sunday. I think at 8,100, it's so reasonable. But I could jump into Thomas Dietrich. Welcome back, Thomas Dietrich, the Turn Dog Golf Podcast. We've now mentioned you in 4 straight weeks, a new record for 2024, excluding 14 from last year. He's made every single cut but one since February. So if you're looking at 14 of 18, think about that. That's 6 straight months of golf.
Yep.
Technically, it's 5 if you really think about it. But he's above average on almost every strokes gained metric in comparison to the field. So it's really good. Thinking about this, on U.S. soil, 11 of his 13 made cuts were here. I don't know why I'm saying this so poorly. It feels like I'm having a little mini stroke in my head. But I think being another weaker field, this is an event that Thomas Dietrich should ball out. And watching him at the Olympics, watching him at the Scottish Open, watching him at the U.S. Open and PGA Championship, he possesses the ability to go deep and really surpass his number.
I love him. Part of me is concerned because I think he's played 6 straight weeks of golf, or 5 weeks of golf and 6 or 5.
He didn't play the Open.
You're right. He did not play the Open, but he's played golf, I think, like 5 times in the last 6 weeks, which is just a lot of golf. So part of me is concerned on that, but I love everything else about his game. So
and I need to pause you here. If you're hearing this and going, boo hoo, you played 5 weeks of the last 6 weeks of golf, you have no idea what the PGA Tour schedule is, because it's not like they're going out there and playing and blah, blah, blah. They're practicing, media, sponsorship events, trying to work on things. Pro-Ams take 6 hours. They're warming up for an hour and a half before, and then they're going to media. It's like a 12-hour day. And I know you're thinking, boo hoo, these guys get paid millions of dollars. That's so taxing.
I also want to think about it too. Like he's been playing so well recently, Dietrich. I'm still talking about Dietrich. He's been playing so well recently that he's been in contention in a lot of these events. Every time you're in contention, it's kind of draining after you don't win and you've been in contention for that. We saw it with Rory at the U.S. Open after he lost to Bryson. He was like visibly ill for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, just like struggling with it. So I know it's a different style and scale because it's Dietrich, but like he's looking for wins on the PGA Tour. So like that's the only reason I can't get to him in my head, but everything else I completely understand and it makes sense. So
yeah. And then last guy I'll mention with some form of confidence, I could talk about another guy, which I will later. I think Bez is going to have a good week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I talked about him earlier, but yeah.
Excluding majors and international events, majors he's always sucked on. He's like Wyndham Clark. He's done well in 18 of those. Out of 20 events played on the U.S. soil that are non-majors, 18 of those he surpassed expectations. In the last 5 events, I will now include the Open and the Scottish, 16, 23, 32, 4, and 17 with an average finishing placement of 18.4. Scoring average on adjusted courses, which is about like 71.5, like I talked about, it puts him at 69.6. So you're telling me he's going to be probably around the -4, -5 mark at the cut line, probably a guaranteed made cut, and he's 17th in strokes gained total, 11th in putting, 25th in proximity, and he's 36th in scoring average. So no matter where he is on the course, basically he's not top 25 in approach, but like his proximity is good enough and his scrambling is good enough where he's getting himself out of these jams. This is a really reasonable price, I think, even though it is high, but for the field.
Yeah, it's high, but I get it. Same boat. I'll mention Harris English just because I think he's an interesting play this week. Nothing specific on him, but he's just going to be probably a made cut merchant who will get you somewhere in the realm of like a T40. So if you want to go really safe, he's an option. Then into the 7K range we go. Kurt Kitayama all the way down to, wow, there's a lot of guys at 7K. Jake Knapp, wow, he's 7,000. What a weak field. Whew.
Well, let me just say, I love Kurt Kitayama this week. Maybe not as a winner's pick, but he's one of the best iron players on tour. And yes, I know that's a statement. Don't come at me. He's flying under the radar. He's 53rd in strokes gained total, 18th in strokes gained off the tee. And just as Liam started up this podcast, well, this week's episode with, driving is going to be massive to put yourself in positions. 38th in driving, and taking advantage of that, he's 20th in proximity. This guy is flying under the radar and at 7,900. I love this play. Excuse me. I think he's going to dominate. This is a horrific miss by the sports books. And with that being said, he's probably going to miss the cut now.
Okay. Well, I like him over the other guy at 7,900, JT Poston. You could look at it and think he has a great record here at Sedgefield. He actually won here in 2019, and he's got another top 10 finish as well. But his current stretch of golf might be some of the ugliest looking performances on tour. He has lost strokes gained off the tee in 6 straight tournaments, and has also lost on approach in 4 of his last 5. He's basically just decided to punt away the second half of the season, in my opinion. He's just basically been like, I'm going to probably finish top 70. I'm just going to coast my way in, drink a Mai Tai on the beach, and worry about nothing else.
That sounds pretty dang good if you ask me.
It sounds great, but unfortunately, we don't all have the luxury to go do that and still make millions of dollars. So I'm avoiding JT Poston this week. Eric Cole, he's kind
Welcome back.
Yeah, he's kind of out of his slump. There was 3 months there from basically the Players to Rocket Mortgage where he was pitiful. He was bad. But he's gained across the board, or he gained across the board at the Rocket Mortgage, the John Deere, and the Open. And outside of losing a stroke and a half on approach at the Scottish Open, he's gained green everywhere else. He seems to turn the corner. I don't mind going to him this week. I also understand if you're hesitant, but I think at 7,700, he's in a pretty good price point. He would have been 9,000 if he was still in good form from earlier on in the year. So keep that in mind.
I don't hate it, but a couple guys I'm more confident in. Denny McCarthy, 7,500. Are you kidding me? No. Everybody, pay attention.
Yep.
Buy in this guy. Buy. Let's take a look. Let's separate. If you take away events in Scotland, which has no comparison here, 7, 31, 32, 39, 24, 6, 28, 45, 2, 35, 48, and then 115 at the PGA on US soil. This guy's freaking dominating. He's 4th in putting, 8th in scrambling, 36th in strokes gained total, and 50th in scoring average. And that's across the entire PGA Tour. Now you take away top 20 guys that are no one's playing this event for the top 20, and you go, Denny McCarthy, he's skyrocketing. It's ridiculous how much they've discredited him. And yes, he has missed the last 2 cuts in this event prior, but he has 15, 9, 22, and 36 adjusted. This is a guy that I would need in my lineup.
Yeah, I'm very high on McCarthy as well, so I totally get it. Same boat. He's probably my favorite person in this 7K range. As far as price point goes. So I totally understand.
Yeah, I have one more guy prior to going forward. Ben Silverman, really, really quiet, really under the radar. I'm not saying he's going to win. 53rd at the 3M, 40, 31, 18, 17, 35, 32, and 16 where his last starts on U.S. soil. That is pretty good to me for a guy at 6,900. Oh, never mind.
I was going to say, he's 6K. He's on my 6K range. I have a few guys.
Yeah.
I got a few guys here.
Totally wasn't looking at my FanDuel price.
Max Grazerman, his last 6 starts have been spectacular. No finishes outside of T26 with a runner-up the 3M Open behind Cam Champ, who played out of his mind. He's basically done it through tee to green play and with the putter, where he's gained in 5 of those 6 events. He's a great option for a made cut at 7,600 and has easy top 40 upside. Steven Yeager, I talked about him last week, and I mentioned his bad putting. You know what he proceeded to do? Lose almost 3.5 strokes putting, similar to his previous 4 events. You're welcome. He had glimpses on Friday where he looked like he may have found something, just to struggle again on Saturday and Sunday. He's played well here in the past, and if you want to be early on him, I understand, but there's no really incentive to be early on Steven Yeager. Like, it's not that exciting. So I'm going to be patient and wait until I see it from him. Patrick Fishburne has 4 top 25 finishes in his last 5 starts. I know Patrick Fishburne might be the least exciting name on the planet. Well, his name's exciting, but you probably not for the reasons you would think of on a golf course. He's been elite with the balls, with ball striking, and his putter has been close behind, gaining 3.5 strokes during that 5 start stretch each start with the putter. Last guy I'll mention in this range, Andrew Novak. He is Patrick Fishburne, but with slightly more name value, and I do mean ever so slightly more name value. He has 4 top 25 finishes in his last 5 starts, only missing that at the Scottish Open, which again doesn't apply here. He is a PGA Tour regular event star, and I think if he continues to play the way he's been playing, he's going to pull like a Johnny Vegas and just win a really obscure event. Now, am I saying that's going to be soon? Not necessarily, but he's the kind of golfer that's been playing so well, I could totally see it happening. So, all right, into the 6K range where we are starting off with Chan Kim all the way down to, wow, what an interesting name. We'll go Paul Barjan.
No, who is the interesting name?
Braden Shattuck? I can't say his name well. Shattuck. Braden
Oh, you should have
Shattuck.
gone Blaine Hale.
Oh, I could have gone Blaine Hale. Yeah. I just saw the interesting name and I got distracted. I was like, ooh. Oh, you know who I should have gone? I should have gone Steve Bogdanoff.
Oh, yeah. Beef Stroganoff. Yeah, he's a PGA Tour pro out of Kentucky. It's sad I know that offhand. That it is ridiculous. Yeah, speaks to golf nerd. Anyway, Ben Silverman, who I've been jumping the gun on talking about, has been really good. I talked about his finishes 2 minutes ago while jumping the gun. I have nothing more to say outside. He's actually been scoring really, really well. He's got a couple 62, 64, 65, 66s. So I think he's going to be in a really good spot, especially at this really low price.
Yeah, I think he's a viable option. I have 2 guys I like in this 6K. Well, one guy I like, another guy who I'm like, if you're stuck down here, this is the guy I would go to. So I'm going to start off with a guy I really like, Ben Coles at 6,900. He's extremely accurate off the tee. He's top 10 in this field, and he also hits a ton of greens in regulation. His biggest gripe is that he's very short off the tee. He doesn't hit the ball very far, but that doesn't matter here because, again, Sedgefield is very positionally based. And he's known to putt extremely well as well. So I think that this could be a very dangerous spot for Ben Coles. The last guy I will mention is Stuart Sink. He has played this event 20 times, which is crazy. Way back when he first started playing this, it was the Cannon Greater Hartford Open. He's also won this event. What?
Say it one more time, because I've been watching golf since I was in the womb. I don't remember that event at all.
The Cannon Greater Hartford Open.
Maybe it was just called Cannon. I don't remember that.
I think it was the Hartford Open at one point in 2006. But the point being, he's won this event twice. One time as the Cannon Greater Hartford Open, one time as the Travelers. The last time he won was back in 2008. He's also finished T2 in 3 other occasions, last back in 2019. In his 20 starts here at Sedgefield, he's made the cut 16 times, including in 3 of his last 4. So,
boy.
I know he's old. He's 51 now, so he could technically play on the Champions Tour. But if you want a guy who specifically on FanDuel, I think is 7,000, so he's the min price. On here, I don't know, 6,200 probably. Don't quote me on it. He's low priced. Stuart Sink is the option I'd go to.
Love that guy. He's one of my favorite players. I love all the old Nike guys.
Oh yeah. So
worst hairline I've ever seen though, or tan line.
Well, yeah. He's 6,300. I was right. Okay, so we'll take it. All right. Are you got anybody else? Or you want to go straight into DraftKings?
Oh shoot, yeah, I was about to go right into bets. I guess I can go into DraftKings.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Um,
disappoint you.
yeah, you are. I'm starting off. Sorry, I'm looking at notes. I promise I'm not just staring into space. Sung J M, 10,700. I am biting it. It's the most expensive guy in the field, but like the most reasonably priced number one guy in probably DFS history.
Yep.
Number two, I did bite it on Cam Young at 9,700. I went to Kurt Kitayama at 7,900. I have Max Grazerman, who we didn't talk about unless you did,
I
at
did.
7,600. Beautiful. I have Victor Perez at 7,200. And I have Ben Silverman at 6,900.
There we go. For my DraftKings, I'm a little different. I started with Shane Lowry, 10,300. Then I go Billy Horschel, 10,200. Harris English at 8,000. Denny McCarthy at 7,500. Andrew Novak at 7,100. And Ben Coles at 6,900.
Awesome. And my FanDuel, if you care, you should. It's pretty good, I think. I really like it. It does start off Cam Young at 11,300. I go to Brian Harmon, and I lied. I go to Akshay Bhatia at 10,900. Then I go to Brian Harmon at 10,800. I have Kurt Kitayama at 9,500, Denny McCarthy at 9,100, and then Ben Silverman at 8,100.
There you go. For my FanDuel, I kind of really like this lineup. Shane Lowry, 11,900. Billy Horschel, 11,600. Aaron Rye, 10,400. Denny McCarthy, 9,100. Michael Thorbjornsen, 9,000, who we didn't really talk on, but we've talked about him for like 6 of the last 9 weeks. You guys know about him at this point. And then Ben Coles at 8,000. We'll see. I feel pretty good about it, but usually when I feel really good, I'm just yeah. Well, usually when I feel good about FanDuel lineups, it means they don't perform that great. So we'll see. All right, bets we go. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
all right. I feel really good about a lot of these bets, and let me preface by saying a lot of them are safe. So Maverick McNeely to make the cut is minus 200. Again, let me preface. I get a lot of comments on TikTok on Wednesday frickin' night. The odds have changed. These odds aren't available. That's how you guys all sound in my head. I left these in at Monday at noon. What do you think? They're just gonna stay in that same spot for frickin' 48 hours, you dopes? Anyway, Maverick McNeely to make the cut is minus 200. 15 for 18 on the year, which is an 83% hit rate. But in the U.S., he's got a 93.3% hit rate. Already talked about his scoring average. If you take that and you base it on the average of about 71.5 to his scoring average the first 2 rounds, he would surpass it on 99% of events on the year. The only one he would miss is the ISCO Championship, which set a PGA Tour record at -8. There's only 2 events in the entire history of the PGA Tour since its stats have been recorded that have surpassed the cut line at -6, one of them being the 2020 Shriners. This is being a lower tier field. Percentages for the first 2 round scoring average is going to be dramatically heightened. He's 24th in round 1 scoring average and 45th in round 2 scoring average. You do the math on that. Strokes gained total of 11, tee to green 22, putting 26, scrambling 9, and the scoring average of 9 as well. If that's not a 10-unit play, I don't know what is. And on that note, that is a 10-unit play.
There you go. All right, what other bets you got?
Next, Christian Bezuidenhout to make the cut is also minus 200. He's 17th in strokes gained total, 11th in putting, 10th in scrambling, 25th in procs, 36th in scoring average, and 52 and 87 in round 1 and round 2 scoring average. That equals a good chance at a made cut. Next, I'll go a little quicker. Dietrich to make the cut is minus 200. Like you said, every single made cut but one since February. 11 for 13 on U.S. soil this year. He's above average on the field and in PGA Tour in every single strokes metric. And he's 17th in round 1 scoring average and 14th in round 2. That equals a pretty good chance at a made cut. Now we get a little scarier. Keegan Bradley to make the cut, minus 200. And I know what you're thinking. What the heck are you talking about? Basically, he's had 1 miss since the Valspar in mid-March, which was the Open, which I bet him to miss the cut. So you should feel confident in me saying this. He's above average in basically everywhere. The only thing he really lacks is scoring average. But this being a lower tier event, he should make the frickin' cut. Round 1 average of 71 and round 2 average of 70. Roughly, that puts him about 300 par on average in comparison to normal events. So I think at 300, this should make the cut or give him a good chance to fight for it. And I think that this plays to Keegan's strengths of just really boring, weird golf. So whatever. Really sad bet coming up. It's Akshay Bhatia to make the cut at minus 225. It is egregious, but it's too good to pass up. 15 of 22 on the cuts this year. Basically, he's only missed 3 and 2 of them were majors in the actual 2024 bracket. Poor round 4 at the 3M, but played well otherwise. And his last 4 starts prior to the Open were 2, 5, 16, and 22. And he's got really good strokes gain metrics all throughout. I won't bore you guys anymore. But he's 68 in round 1 and 23rd in round 2 scoring average. And in his last 5 starts, his adjusted scoring average on round 1 and round 2 are 4 and 5 under. Or sorry, 4 and 3 under. So that's 7 under, which will make the cut. Sung J M top 40 is minus 210. Excluding majors, he's hit this in 10 of his last 11 events. And as Liam touched on earlier, 10 top 12 finishes. What?
Do you have all just made cut bets?
No, he's top 40.
Oh, top 40. Okay,
Top
all right.
40, yes. 23rd in strokes gained total, 30th off the tee, 45th in accuracy, 38th in prox, and 34th in scoring average. Should be really good considering that. Cam Young, top 40 is minus 140. He's one of the best ball strikers and looking at his last 3 events, 31, 6, and 9. He's been dominant. His poor finishes have been a result of round 3 and round 4. Get this. An average of between round 1 and round 2 and round 3 and round 4, a difference of 2 shots a round. Isn't that ridiculous? That's wild. But being a lower tier event, I think he should be able to fire early enough through 3 rounds to kind of ballpark a 40th finish. So I'm banking on that. Shane Lowry, top 40 is minus 160. He's hit this in 6 of his last 7 starts. His misses have been 43, 47, and 49. So the play is always there. He's playing extremely high level events. So in this field, should be no issue. And if you take his scoring average based on what I expect it to be based on the history of this course, he would finish top 40 in every single one. So we're looking really good there. 26 in strokes gained, 44 off the tee, 10th in approach, 20 in total driving, and 50th in prox. I love it. Still going. Brian Harman, top 40 is
How many do you have? You've been doing bets for 4 minutes.
Yeah, we got 4 more. Top 40 is minus 140 for Brian Harman. Prior to the Open, he hit that in 6 straight. And he's also scored way better than average prior to the Open too, which is a really good sign. 18th in strokes gained total, 38th in approach, 21st putting, 27th driving, 53rd prox, and 66 scoring average. Last 2, I promise. Denny McCarthy, top 54 in ties is minus 120. And I'll say that again, top 54 in ties is minus 120. If you're not going to the bank, taking out a loan and putting that on the house, I don't blame you. But outside of the Scottish Open and the Open, he's had a tremendous stretch of finishes, hitting this number in 11 of his last 12 U.S. events. Average placement in this event specifically is 47, including 3 top 25s. He's 36 in strokes gained total, 3rd in putting, 73rd in driving, 8th in scrambling, 44th in bogey avoidance, and 50th in average. I think that fits perfectly. And last but not least, Kurt Kitayama, top 51 in ties is minus 120. Hit this in 12 of his last 15 events. He's 53rd strokes gained total, 18th off the tee, 30th in approach, 20 in prox, and 52 in scoring average. I love it. I'm exhausted. I need a beer.
I was going to say, you spent 5 minutes going through your bets. I don't blame you for being gassed. For my bets, I'm going to be much quicker through them because I've already basically gone through all those guys in more detail in the past. I have 6 of them. Billy Horschel, top 40 is minus 150. Cam Davis over Minwoo Lee and Aaron Baddeley. I feel like we've trash talked Minwoo Lee and Baddeley a ton, and that is plus 110.
That low?
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's Minwoo Lee and Baddeley. I don't know what to tell you. Cam Davis has been playing really well. Eric Van Rooyen over JT Poston is plus 100. Sung J M top 30 is minus 150. Shane Lowry top 20 in round 1 is plus 250. And then Ben Cole's top 40 is plus 160. So those are my 4. Obviously, 2 of them are pretty high. The rest of them are all minus 150 to plus 110.
I have one more bet for you on my sheet. Did you ditch that one?
I didn't see that one. What was it?
It is Shane Lowry, top 20 in round one.
Yeah, I threw that one out there already. Yeah, I already said that one. I went through all six.
I'm stupid.
Okay.
I
have all
that's
six
fair.
here. I'll go. Yeah, Shane Lowry top 20 round one plus 250.
Cool. I don't know. That's stupid.
Yep.
Well, tell me about your wild card pick.
My wild card pick is an interesting one. It's Aaron Rye, Denny McCarthy, and Max Grazerman. Top 40 parlay is plus 850. So I'm kind of liking that whole like pick three guys that I think are going to do well. Hope they're all going to be top 40 and just like throw it into a parlay. I'm kind of enjoying that right now. But yeah, plus 850 seems like really good odds for, again, Denny, who I feel really good about, Rye, who I feel really good about, and then Grazerman has been playing really well. So I think he has a chance as well.
Why don't you just do Ryan McCarthy?
I mean, that one is like plus 280, but like that's so boring. Like, why do that?
Yeah. Anyway, my wild card is one guy, because the odds of that are way better, is Ben Silverman, top 30 at plus 320. Yes, I know that seems just weird to think, but he's hit this John Deere Classic 18th, 17th at the Rocket Mortgage, 16th at Myrtle Beach, and a handful of those other stretches where he didn't hit. He was like 31, 32, 34. So he's in contention for it. And in a field like this, let's be honest, the fields that most of these guys have been playing are nothing like this. This is going to be an event where Ben Silverman could shine. So I love it.
Yeah, there we go. All right, into wild cards or into winners picks. My two are Cam Davis and Nikolai Hoyard.
I'm going for 4 straight weeks of picking winners, and I'm going for Sungjae Im and Denny McCarthy. I think Sungjae has been on the cusp of a lot of these events that have major fields, and I think this is his time to shine. And Denny McCarthy proved in Texas that he has the ability to drop bombs and putt like lightning, which we already knew about him, but like that was ridiculous. I think it could be a good showing. I like it.
I'll say this: if I didn't already use him, I probably would have picked Aaron Rye. Just gonna throw that out there. All right. With that is the Wyndham Championship. Next week we start the FedEx playoffs with the FedEx St. Jude Championships. So out there, happy betting. Let's win some money, and then we'll see you next week for the championships.
Shout out USA for the women's golf. Nelly Corda, go take it home.
Go Nelly Corda. No, you wanted somebody else to win, right?
I literally just said that.
Oh, all right, just checking.
I go, let's go Nelly Corda. And you go, oh yeah, go Nelly Corda.
The moment you said USA Golf, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Nelly Corda's playing this week at the Olympics, and that she's the first one that came to mind. So I was like,
why are there no betting markets for this? It's just winners. It's confusing.
I know, and I was all prepared to have like a bet or two ready for the women's Olympics, and there's nothing. So
everyone go curse out the odds makers for being sexist.
Bingo. There we go. All right. With that, we will leave you to it. Have a good one. Happy betting. Deuces.